Hey, I'm Daniel, and you found my podcast, The Filmcraziest Show, on YouTube. For this conversation, I was able to speak with the two stars behind the new Canadian Christmas romance, It Takes a Christmas Village, as I spoke with Brooke Nevin and Corey Sevier, who also directs the film. Brooke plays Mary Foster, who wants to bring a Christmas market to her small town because the shops on Main Street are struggling because of construction that takes people away from downtown. To do so, she has to convince Corey's character, the reclusive Darcy Hawkins, to host it at his family's mill, which reignites old feuds, but also sparks new romance. It Takes a Christmas Village will be playing in theaters tonight, November 29th, for one night only, at Landmark Cinemas throughout Canada, and will also have its premiere on the Super Channel on December 4th. More information will be below, but let's get right into the conversation with Brooke and Corey. Brooke Nevin and Corey Sevier. Is it Sevier?
Sevier.
Sevier, okay. For It Takes a Christmas Village. It's great to be chatting with you guys on the Filmcraziest Show. How's it going?
Good, so good. Ready to get into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Good. Now, that's actually a perfect way for me to start my questions, because I have here, do you have any Christmas songs or Christmas movies that get you guys into the Christmas spirit?
Well, I mean, I don't have a little one, so I'm imagining, Corey, that your Christmas movie docket is a little bit different than mine. Like maybe I would watch Scrooged or Santa Claus, but I'm guessing that's not what you would be watching.
We got a lot of the shorts that come with the Pixar films that have like the Christmas special, so the Shrek or the Frozen Christmas, and actually, truthfully, I love them too. So my son is almost 3. He's going to be 3 in a week, and him and I seem to have the same taste, so it works out really well.
That actually doesn't sound like a bad way to get in the Christmas spirit. I feel like I just need to glom onto a family that has a 2-year-old and just join right in.
You relive all it through your kids, so it's incredible. And the one that my family, pre-kids, was always National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That was always one that we did. Gonna wait a few years on that one, I think, for my son, but I'm looking forward to introducing him to that.
You could introduce him to Alf. I feel like Alf is good for all ages.
Actually, that is a good call. Mm-hmm. That's what we'll do this weekend.
There you go.
I think it's G-rated, actually.
Yeah, it's very much for kids. It's fun, and the energy, like, he would love it. He imitates everything, so he'll just be.
So maybe just shield him from the moments when Will Ferrell eats gum off of the subway railings. That's the only part where maybe you're just like, oh, hey,
yeah, that's here. Was that a reindeer out there?
Yeah, Lucas, what's that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now he's gonna be chugging 2-liter sodas.
Exactly. Oh, he already tried. But,
oh yeah.
Yeah, we keep it away from him.
Now, for this film, I'd be curious, when did you guys film it?
We shot it last January, and it was, I'm proud to say, and Brooke can tell you, it was cold. Like, it was legit winter when we shot this.
No, it was legit polar vortex is what it was when we shot it.
Growing up, you work a lot, growing up in Canada, you think you can handle the cold, but it was, for whatever reason, those couple of weeks that we shot, it was, like Brooke said, it was a polar vortex. There was some of the coldest nights I've ever had on set.
Yeah.
The director's side of me was very excited because cinematically, it's amazing.
Beautiful.
Wide shots, and we got to do all this stuff.
And we had perfectly timed snow flurries.
Yeah.
The type of snow that just drifts ever so peacefully into frame, which also coincided with all the visits from Corey's wife and the writer of this movie. It was like Kate showed up on set and then we had magical snow. So I give that to Kate. I think she's a magical being and she conjured the snow. So yeah, and then of course we have that amazing tobogganing sequence, which could not have been done with like cotton batting blankets, and like that scene would have, I don't even know how we would have done it unless we'd had real snow.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, I think you have to make it like it's quite a lengthy sequence in the film. Like, we really leaned into it, and without the real snow, it's impossible.
You can't do without the real stuff. But it did mean that like there were icicles on the eyebrows of our crew members. I mean, Corey, you remember I'd be standing there just laughing because I was so cold. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to make my mouth work and get the dialogue come out of my.
Oh no.
Yeah. You have to, like, the mouth stops working and you just have to take like little hot shots and put them on your cheeks, and yeah, it was real winter. So to answer the question, I'm very proud that it's a true Christmas film. But it came at the cost of some toes in the ends of fingertips for a couple of weeks.
The sacrifice is worth it, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you mentioned that your wife wrote this, Corey. So I'd be curious, like, what point did you come on this project? Was it right from the beginning?
It was. It literally was born in our living room. And Kate, I'm trying to think. Kate started writing it. Actually, it wasn't that long a turnaround. Maybe 2 months before we actually went to camera. We knew we worked with the same company before. Kate basically was inspired by the small town that she grew up in, north of Ottawa, and she just had this great idea, and we were spitballing it, and we kind of came up with a pitch, and then she wrote this. Obviously I'm biased, but a beautiful script, and we took it to our the people that we've been working with, the producers, and thankfully they really got on board, and they respected my wishes to want to actually shoot it in the wintertime, and we turned it around quickly, and we were basically starting prep right before the holidays, casting a couple first weeks of January, and then we were off to the races, and thankfully we did, because it only lasted kind of for a couple of weeks there, so it was really well timed.
Okay, now where is she? I'm actually in Ottawa. So like, she from Almont?
Yes. So she.
Almont? Okay.
Yeah. So her parents grew up in Almont. We obviously spent so much time with her family up in that area, and so the whole sort of mill, historical town, the river. She's thinking Almont, Ontario, completely. And as it turned out, of course, the irony of filming is that we ultimately didn't film it in Almont, Ontario, but we pieced various places together to make it kind of have that historical feel. And that was a key part of, the plot of the film, obviously saving the small town. And, so it was a very personal film, for us in that sense. It was, we were just fortunate that they trusted it with us, and people like Brooke were kind enough to come on board and go on our adventure. And here we are, getting to share it with the world now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I haven't been to Almont too much, but I did journalism in Ottawa, and I did a little story on the little chocolate store there with all the dark chocolate.
Oh, that sounds like a Christmas movie. Chocolate store in Almont.
Yeah,
I'll get
exactly. Now, Brooke, how did you?
I like chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. How did you come on the board this project?
The company Vortex Productions sent me the script, and when I knew Corey was attached, I read the first couple of pages, and right away Kate sets up the character of Alex Foster in the most sort of delightful and likable way. And she describes her as the type of woman who's busy even in her sleep. And I just love this notion of this woman who's working so hard on behalf of the, constituents of her town to make sure that she is not just a mayor doing mayoral things, but doing them in a way that tends to and befriends everyone in her town. And so I love the heart of the movie. And Corey and I had worked together years ago on an episode of Motive, which was very different in kind and theme than a Christmas movie. So I thought it was time for us to sort of make up on screen.
Yes.
After our Motive episode, and it was a delight. I knew right away that I wanted to come up and do this movie.
Yeah. Well, I can, just to follow up on what Brooke said, when we're thinking about casting, Brooke was the first person that came to mind. I knew it would be, someone that Brooke is such a talented actress. And like I said, the thing we worked on before was very, very different from Christmas. Let's just say things didn't end well between us, relationship-wise, in the episode of Motive. So it was an opportunity for us to kind of, make up cinematically, if you will. And but Brooke is so talented, and she's such a trooper, and you need someone like that on a film like this, and she led the way every day. And yeah, she's incredible, and we were just so grateful that she said yes.
Okay, cool. You guys kind of buried the murder weapon, right? Instead of the hatchet.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry if you were going to say something, Brooke.
Just talking about leading the way. I mean, Corey, what we haven't talked about yet is that he directed and starred in the movie at the same time.
Yes.
Which is a feat unto itself. It is. I mean, these schedules for these movies are already a challenge, and so to pack that much cinema, the feel of a big movie into the schedule, and then also to literally be going back and forth, like changing a sweater. Okay, now I'm ready. I'm here, Darcy Hawkins, and now I'm the director. I mean, it was a marvel just watching him go back and forth between the two, and feel, as a cast member, feel so taken care of on both fronts as both my scene partner and director was pretty amazing.
Thank you, Brooke.
That's awesome. Now, how did that opportunity come up for you, Corey, to direct the film?
I had the opportunity to do something similar with the directing and the acting and on another script the previous year with this company Vortex. And once again, they, I guess things went well enough on the first one that they were willing to, to let me have another shot at it. I'd worked with the company before as an actor, so we had a good relationship there. But as a director, any director will tell you, you're only as good as the people that you're surrounded by. So, our DP, Stephen Whitehead, his entire crew, the production team found these incredible locations, and you want to bring in a cast of people that you really trust. I mean, obviously that started with Brooke, but our entire cast was just these seasoned, incredible actors that came on set. And Brooke mentioned the speed in which you often have to shoot these films. I had so much trust in them. I just sort of wanted to make them at ease. Hopefully we had some time to play. And then we just went. So when, they approached me, I knew that they wanted to do more stuff with us as a team. And I said, well, how do you feel about me directing again? And I asked my wife, who do you picture in the role of Darcy? And she said, you. And I said, okay, I'm not with that. I'm sure there's a million other better actors that could have done it, but I was so excited to work with Brooke again. And it was actually a character that was really fun for me too, because my character Darcy's kind of a recluse, and he's not your kind of trying to be charming, romantic guy off the bat. There was a nice little arc there that I thought would work really well off of Brooke's character, who's so likable and so energetic, does so much for the town, and here's this guy who doesn't really in the beginning want anything to do with the town. I thought that was a really fun arc to play, so it did appeal for me from an acting perspective as well. So yeah, and I just tried to make sure that the actors felt comfortable on set and that we got everything we needed, and again, just had a great team around me.
Awesome. Now, I'd also love to ask, I had mentioned to Brooke before the interview that I haven't seen a lot of these Christmas romance films, just from someone who's kind of almost an outsider. And I know these films have a big audience, so I'd be curious to get your take on why you think fans come back every year for kind of familiar and new stories, and just why do you think they're coming back for more every year?
What?
Well, I think what these movies can promise is, for one thing, is a happy ending. I know there's not a lot of mystery involved in these movies. You know that you're going to sit down. You know that there's going to be a goal, or some amount of conflict. But at the end of the day, we're going to lean into the heart and faith of the people involved in the movie. And I think sometimes, especially this time of year, it's really nice to lean into those aspects of a movie. The comforting aspects, the little bit of magic of Christmas. It's really nice.
Yeah. I find these films, they people ask me, what do you like about Christmas? And these films touch on thematically so many things that I think people love about the holidays. It's just, whether it's getting together with people you love, or, rekindling, relationships on various levels. This film has, some interesting dynamic between Brooke's character and her father in the film, and, my character and his grandmother. And there's a whole sort of, subplot about sort of this sort of older feud that had happened in the town. And it's sort of about healing, that sort of thing. And I think those are really, powerful themes that, that Christmas or the holidays tend to hopefully give time for people to slow down and think about those kind of things. So it's, I think it just touches, and they're fun, like you said, and Brooke said that they're not, they're not mysterious, but hopefully the journey of getting to the romance or the healing or whatever it is in the film is really enjoyable. And I certainly like to watch things like that at this time of year. So I was just thrilled that so many other people do too.
Okay. Now, maybe a similar question, but for you guys as actors, what brings you coming back for more to make them again and create that magic?
Well, part of it for me is I do love Christmas. So walking on set and in your workplace and you're just surrounded by Christmas decorations is really not a bad way to start the day, even if it's 6 o'clock in the morning. But beyond that, it never fails. Every time I join one of these movies and I'm surrounded by the cast and crew, everyone is really happy to be there working and creating this type of content for audiences. We know we're putting something really good into the world, and so I think that that's part of the general sentiment on set. It's always just sort of a good vibe, and everybody is happy to work with one another. So that's part of the actual doing of it, is quite enjoyable.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel the same way. Everything Brooke said is bang on. I don't know if I have anything to add to that. They're often very fun. Like, you could be out in the middle of the woods, doing a slasher or a thriller or horror film, which have their own appeal, of course.
Absolutely.
But, there is something nice to be doing a scene where you're sitting down by a fire and eating some Christmas cookies or drinking hot cocoa. And
that hot cocoa was so good. I think we had to keep refilling my cup because it was delicious.
We definitely pulled out a few extra takes just so we could sip a little bit more of that, and people are in a good mood generally. So they are genuinely fun. And I think the more fun you can have, the more it shows up on screen as well. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, hear me out here. You mentioned slasher. Can you get your wife to do a Christmas romance slasher? The right one?
We've talked about, I said, the fun of being able to do like a genre switch, like halfway through, you think it's going to be this, really sweet, and then it takes a turn. Look, I think there's a hunger for holiday films, and there's obviously a big hunger for that. So let me talk to Kate. She's the right woman to talk to. Let's see what I can do, and we'll talk again next year.
Okay, perfect. Now, I'd also love to ask, just you guys have done, I think between you've done at least 10 of these Christmas films. So, and you've had very interesting occupations. So do you guys have a favorite job that you've done during these films, or maybe during your career? Like as the character?
I mean, I've had some very responsible jobs. I've been a doctor, I've been a mayor, I've been a journalist. Very great professions.
Very admirable, Brooke.
Yeah, I think I haven't had to go into too much detail. It's not like you're ever going to see a doctor on an operating table in a Christmas movie. You know what I mean? So it's not like you get the ER version of playing a doctor in a Christmas movie. You get the let's check your reflexes on the table sort of doctoring. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I think one of the movies that I loved best too was one of my characters loved to craft. I'm like, yes, I love to craft. So of course I'm going to make these wonderful Christmas cards. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. The same. I got to play a pilot in one of them, which was kind of fun. But again, it went only as far as kind of wearing the uniform,
wearing the hat. Yeah.
Wearing the hat.
Pilot a plane? What?
Exactly. Didn't even get on the plane. It was just the hat. The town got shut down. I often, sometimes I played, guys that could survive out in the wilderness, or the Alaska, hiking man, far tougher guys than I would ever be, or the carpenter who knows far more about building things than I ever will. So, I get to kind of live vicariously through these characters, and if you're lucky, you pick up a skill or two along the way. So they're a lot of fun.
Okay. Now I think I only have time for one more, so I'll just kind of on that subject, Corey. I actually saw one of your other films, The Corruption of Divine Providence, where you played a Pentecostal preacher, I think it would be called. And actually, with the hair in that film, I didn't recognize you until I was looking at your filmography. So,
that's fantastic.
And I'd just be curious, what is it a different process for a role like that? Because it's very different than you here.
Yeah, it's in some ways, honestly, whether it's a romance film or it's a film like that, which was, obviously very extremely, the process is similar, but, in that one, for example, the Texas accent, there's certain things that you do to kind of, embody the character. I got to say the hair, once they do the pompadour, suddenly you're in a whole new world. But that one, certain ones require, I find, certain prep in certain ways, whether it's an accent or a walk, or you're changing yourself physically. Typically in these, you don't get to make maybe as much of a physical transformation, but you're still tracking, emotional arcs and these kind of things. but I love, that you saw that film, because it was a lot of fun. It was certainly out there and a different character for me to play. And so if you see this film, then you can appreciate, kind of extremes from where we go. Certainly not as high of hair, at least. In this.
Yeah, there's a height cutoff, I think.
Yeah, although a few times the wind does blow and it might actually kind of look like that, but it's very fleeting. So.
Okay. Yeah, I actually talked to the director, Jeremy, and he was very nice.
Yes, Jeremy is a wonderful friend of mine and a wonderful filmmaker. And that film, I played a small role in the film, but it had an incredible cast of, mainly Canadian actors. So I was just honored to be a part of it and to play such a kooky character.
Fair enough. Yeah. I always love supporting Canadian films, and especially Canadian films like It Takes a Christmas Village as well. So
yeah, and I guess I should also mention that tonight we were thrilled to find out that it actually has a limited theatrical release with landmark theaters all across Canada. So, I have a brother that lives in Vancouver. They're going out to see the film tonight. Most of our cast and crew here in Ontario are going out, and you don't usually see that in these kind of films. Usually, they're playing on TV, but we're getting this incredible opportunity, through the Super Channel in Canada and Landmark to actually be able to see it on the big screen. So, and because we wanted it to feel very cinematic, we were really excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. Now, sorry, just one last one. Are you guys going to any of the screenings? Are you going to be doing a Q&A at any of them?
We're going to like the local one because we have a 3-year-old who has to be in bed. So we're going to pop over and watch it and come right back. And I'm not sure, I know Brooke is so busy, but I do know that it's showing on the West Coast as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be seeing out on the West Coast with my sister. And I mean, if anybody decides to come up to me and ask me a question, I'm happy to answer it, but there's not going to be any planned Q&A or fanfare around it. But I hope people come. I think it's a really special opportunity to see one of these types of movies on a silver screen, and I'm so excited that it will be rolling out across Canada today. It's a really great way.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and people might get lucky to see you at their screening.
Yeah, so. They might.
That's right. People from all over the country that were part of the film. And I do know there's going to be a big contingency of the crew and cast at the Hamilton location. So if you're living in the Hamilton location, you want to go see a really fun film tonight, 7:00, the Landmark Theater in Hamilton.
Awesome. Bring in the magic to them.
That's right.
Very cool. So I think that was my time. So I'd like to thank you, Brooke Nevin, and Corey Sevier, for chatting with me on the Filmcraziest Show about It Takes a Christmas Village.
Hey.
Thanks so much, Daniel.
Yeah, pleasure.